Hey everybody, it's Matt. I am going to show you real quick where there's been some questions about using Illuminate to make your report card, or at least to have a standards-based looking report card out of Illuminate. And since all of you are already doing your assessments in Illuminate, it's very easy to just push that to the gradebook and then be able to make something that uses the power law to average out all your scores, and that way it's done for you. You don't have to do any thinking. You just hit print and you're all done when it comes report card time. So I have right here, Danielle has nicely allowed us to use one of her math assessments to kind of show how this is done. So as you can see here, she has an assessment, grade 1, mod 1. 21 kids have taken the test. So how do I take that and push that to my gradebook, and so I don't have to re-enter everything that's already done? So what you do is you click on it and make sure you have results. You know you have results when you get one of these donuts, and tells what kids mastered it, what ones didn't, etc. And then what you do is you go up to administration and you link it to your gradebook. Again, administration, link to the gradebook. And once you do that, it will give you an option of what do you want to link and how do you want to link it. So performance band is basically just a grading scale. So do you want a grading scale involved or performance band? Yes. And then what do you want to go in your gradebook? Well, you probably want anything with a standard to go in your gradebook. So in this case, the overall score, while you could put it in there, it has no standard linked. And for standards-based grading, that doesn't really make sense, an overall score. Instead, you want to tell how the student did on each one of the standards within that. So I've gone ahead and clicked all the different standards that were done in this. Again, it's pre-made for you, so it's no thinking involved. Just say, yes, I want all the standards in this assessment done, and hit submit. When you hit submit, it's then going to say, well, what do you want to call each one of these entries in the gradebook? This looks like a lot of mess and a lot of work, but it's actually pretty easy. Each one of the standards is already named in the long name, what standard it was involved, and it's way over at the end. So instead of taking all of that and having to type that in, they've done it for you. And they've given a short name to this standard. Unfortunately, the short name is the same for every single standard in here. And in any gradebook, they want to have each column to be named something different. So in this case, I'm just going to put a 1 at the end of the first one, a 2 at the end of the second one, a 3 at the end of the third standard, a 4 at the end of the next standard, 5 at the end of the next one, and so on. So that way, this one specifically, all of these will go in the gradebook and they'll be named their own things, so the gradebook doesn't get confused which standard. Since the assignments won't have repeated names, they'll know which standard to assign to which name of the assessment. Then all I do is hit create and link assignments. And when I do that up here, if it does it right, which it should every time in your math stuff, it says successfully linked. And then you could say, well, what does that really look like? You can go up to your gradebook. You can go to my gradebook. When you go up to my gradebook, you will be able to pick your math one because that's the one that it went in. And as you see here, she has a wonderful Christmas tree color-coded, oops, I accidentally hit it twice. She will have a wonderful Christmas tree color-coded looking thing. And for each student, it will tell where they are overall. So overall in math, they're doing great, better, good, etc. And then it'll say for each one of these assessments where they stand. So for this assessment, for the first standard, this is where they are, etc. And then if you want to report on how they're doing overall, you can go up to reports, standards progress report. And then it takes all those standards and will spit them out into a report that's color-coded so you know how your student is doing. So you can say, for instance, in marking period 1, since that'll be your first report carding or card marking, you could say, I just want the mark only because 1, 2, 3, 4, if you turn those into percentages, 1% does not look like it makes sense, or 4% doesn't look like it should be excellent. So you do mark only. You can turn on and off parent signatures, you can, et cetera, et cetera. The rest of these I just leave. And then I click, for the sake of just showing you guys, I can hit view in browser, but if you're going to print, you'd want to download to PDF. But just to show you what it's going to look like, I'm going to view it here in the browser, so that way I don't waste paper. And it's making it report finished, and I can scroll down and see that student X is doing great at this standard, better at this standard, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can go page by page, you can show them all, or you can just hit them page by page. This next student is doing, better, which is basically B-level work at all of these, and good, which is C-level work at this one. And what it does is if you have multiple times doing the same standard, it actually uses a power law for you. It actually weights the most recent attempt of the student more than the other attempts. So if a student did poorly, and then really well, it's going to actually weight the most recent one more, because that's probably a truer sense of where they currently are on a standard, not the first time that they did it. Hope this makes sense for all of you. Thanks, guys.